baby, we're back. Wait. Why are we getting nuked right now? Hold on, that's not what I discussed. Let me just turn that off. I have drastically fucked up to begin on this live stream today, but you know what? There is plenty to discuss with today being the last day of the trading month. Elsa's trying to get back in the background here, but you can't see because the camera is actually off. So let me just fix it right here. Hold on. This is actually not what I wanted to do. Let me go back to this one here. Let's see if the rage gets started. I do want to make sure that everything is working well, but I actually did not, unfortunately, prepare properly before this live stream. I was rushing around doing my own dumping, and now it is time for the test. So let me just figure that this, to explain what's going on with my fucking camera is oh God, it's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating. Whenever I bring it up, it takes like a minute for it to actually start working, which is very annoying. Anyways, Jay even says, Krown got that stuff. Yes, the stuff I got, like the brown paper bag. Anyways, a little rusty indeed. Anyways, I see a lot of familiar faces in here. I see a lot of very interesting comments as well. Some terrible takes, some great takes, some disastrous takes as well. I see a lot of people referencing fractals from cycle to cycle. Hey, this cycle did this, so that means that this cycle is going to look exactly like that one. Well, if you have half of a fucking brain and you can look at the chart right now, you can very easily see that that is not indeed the case. No cycle, not even a single fucking one of these cycles, has looked at all similar to the prior cycle, or any cycle for that matter. It's all a bunch of hogwash. Actually, I just realized what I should have done here. Let me, okay, this is the better way to fix it. Hold on. Yes. Okay. Oh my God, I'm huge. Finally, I've grown. Anyways. Let's get into it right here. I'll fix this up a little bit, and then we'll wait. We'll wait to get the bulk of this analysis going. But I do want to address a few comments. Look, it's like the most hilarious thing to me is when people just fucking copy and paste price action from a prior cycle to the current cycle and just be like, that's going to happen. It's like, no, it's fucking not. Because guess what? It's never happened like that, actually. It's literally never, not once happened like that. And if you've been here for even one cycle, you know this because every time you go onto fucking crypto YouTube, crypto Twitter, crypto Reddit, crypto shit fuck, what is staring you right in the face? My fractal, my 20, guys. It's following 2017 pattern. Obviously, it's not. Obviously, it's fucking not. It looks completely different. If you were going off of that playbook, you're lost already. You're lost. I mean, it doesn't make sense. But nonetheless, people try to continue to do this throughout the years, and it is absolutely silly. I also see some terrible takes about people talking about price action coming back down to 70,000, 60,000, 50,000, these sort of things, and then the cycle still continuing. Look, I'm not opposed to price action coming down to these regions. I don't think it's happening, to be blunt, but I'm not opposed to price action coming back to those regions. But for fuck's sake, you have to be an absolutely lobotomized moron to think that Bitcoin is going to trade all the way from $100,000 down to $70,000 and then just print a new high from there without going through a full-on bear market cycle. I can virtually assure you that if Bitcoin closes anywhere below the low of this month, the low of January, cycle is over. Yes, you're going to get bounces along the way, but you should be expecting a lot of sideways and down for, probably about a year, maybe even more. Who knows how long that can take. But again, that's not my main disposition. It's just I'm responding to these comments that I continually see that are just so fucking it's like, have you thought about this for one fucking moment? It's like, no, you haven't, because otherwise that would not be your conclusion. Very unlikely. Anyways, I want to read some of these comments over here. Let's see what else we got. Zhao I says, tell him. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that properly. I don't know. I think that's maybe Chinese. And I don't know the proper Chinese pronunciations for things, unfortunately. It goes past my tongue levels. Anyways, 2 to 3 years, says Lasers. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, one thing that has been consistent for the one thing that has been consistent for Bitcoin since the dawn of time is the actual timing of these cycles. 3 years of general upside followed by 1 year of downside. I mean, that actually has been the one thing that you can kind of blindly look at from the long term. Is it always going to work out like that for the eternity of eternity? I mean, my intuition says no, but at the end of the day, until that relationship gets, destroyed, I would not be going on that side of things. And with the way that things are kind of setting up here for the end of January, I do think that, if Bitcoin is indeed bullish, which I do think that it is, I think that this market continues in Q1, probably in February. February is a good time for that. February is one of the most historically bullish months for Bitcoin. So if there is going to be continuation, if this market is real, I would really be expecting this market to continue on to the upside, barring any sort of like catastrophic, catastrophic failure before tonight's closure for the monthly. Of course, it's a long 16 hours, 43 minutes and 44 seconds to go. But, with Bitcoin really anywhere above, I would say at this point, especially $103,000, that is going to be a nice setup coming into the month of February. Again, doesn't mean that you can't see a short-term correction, back down to range lows. That's fine, but I'd be looking at that as an opportunity if that even were to happen to begin with. It's well and far away right now. And obviously Bitcoin is knocking on the door yet again for an actual breakout, in this case to the upside. Now, I'm sure a lot of people who are more price action oriented traders, they're looking at this as they should be, as a range. Something like this basically. And how many times have we seen something like this, from cycle to cycle during these consolidations where, it tests back up to the top side of the range. And then what happens after that, after kind of daddling around the top side of the range, typically comes back down to the low side of the range. Again, I'm not saying that that's impossible, but for as of right now, with the way that things are kind of shaping up into the end of this month, I do think it's a little bit less likely that we do see it come back down. But, there is some validity to that. And of course, if you do see Bitcoin do something like this, pops up to like 108 again, gets rejected, comes back down, especially below like $100,000, starts closing dailies below there, then yeah, okay, maybe it plays coast to coast, comes down to like 93, 94, and then does something like this perhaps. There's your LARP line for the day. I know that some people love the LARP lines. The LARP lines, not intended to be an exact one-to-one representation, although a lot of the time it, funnily enough, does work out like that, but I don't want to give people the wrong idea because it's fucking not. Oh, you're a white guy from Philly. Your username does not match your background, bro. $1 million Bitcoins is Bucky the Killer. Hey, I'm not opposed to it. It's not my first target to the upside. It's not my first target. Can Bitcoin get to, let's actually just think about this out loud. Can Bitcoin get to 1 million? Well, let's actually bring up chat derp. Let me just bring it up over here. I love talking with chat. Oh man, I love talking with chat. It's like, it's amazing, man. Anyways, what exactly did I want to, yeah, okay. What is Bitcoin's market cap relative to gold? Because I think this is a good comparison to just kind of see where things, the potential of things, because I do think that it would be relevant to think that Bitcoin could at least get to to gold's market cap, or at least half of it, I would say. And as of January 31st, which is today, Bitcoin's market cap is about 2 trillion. Gold's market cap is, holy shit, it's almost 20 trillion. So it's 1/10 of it as of now, or a little bit above, 1/10. I guess if we go for this calculation right here, it's 10.8%. Anyways, do I think that Bitcoin could get to 50% of gold's market cap? That would make sense to me. It would make sense for me, to me at least, and maybe some other people out there as well, to visualize Bitcoin going to the full market cap of gold. But even if it went to half, so 10 trillion, and Bitcoin's right now at 2 trillion, that's a 5x. But a 5x increase in market cap does not correlate directly to a 5x increase in price action. That is a completely different equation, to be fair, and could be, or is, it's not, could be, it will be significantly less than a 5x move. It'll be maybe more like a 2 or 3x if I had to guess, which from current price, I mean, that puts Bitcoin where, like 200, 300,000 bucks. I mean, that's the moon enough to me. It's already on the moon. It's already on the moon. Goal, cash out before bubble burst, invest in AI, get a whole Bitcoin at ultra lows. Boom. Fair enough, man. That is a worthy plan. I do suspect it's going to take a lot of fucking patience, I do think, and balls of steel as well, because you know how this market moves. Markets move in general, but of course, Bitcoin is just extra volatile. So I'll be very interested to see how this next bear market goes. I'm getting way ahead of ourselves here. Again, for anyone joining in, I'm not saying the bear market's starting. I don't think that it is. I'm still bullish on Bitcoin, but if and when it does happen from the end of this cycle, I'm going to be very interested personally to see how far do things come down. Do we see a drastic reduction from the cycle to cycle drawdowns in this current cycle now that things are starting to become significantly more accepted worldwide, it seems like as well. I mean, I even just read, I think it was yesterday, that the Czech Republic, I'm pretty sure it's the Czech Republic, is proposing to start their own Bitcoin strategic reserve, which is very interesting to me as well, because one of the things that the Bitcoiners were very loud about, especially when I first started, when I first started looking into this whole sector, if you want to call it that, or cryptocurrencies, the crypto market. They always spoke about game theory and how if institutions start to adopt, then that kind of causes a bit of a domino effect there, and especially if nation states start to adopt, then same sort of thing, except significantly more powerful. But yeah, we'll see how that goes on. I expect that we do see, if that really is going to be like the avalanche where that continues to gain momentum as time goes on, I think that we would really be knowing the answer to that probably by the end of this year. We expect multiple countries to kind of go alongside that. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to wait if you really do think that that is the future. So I suppose. Yes, Samuel Adams says totally missed the 5x talk because of ads and commercials. The 5x talk. The point that I was making is that Bitcoin is about 10% of gold's market cap right now. If Bitcoin got to even a half of gold's market cap, so 50% of gold's market cap, that would be 10 trillion, which is a 5x move in market cap right now. But again, a 5x move in market cap is not in any way, shape, or form the same as a 5x move in price. In fact, it'll be significantly less. I would guesstimate somewhere between like 2 to 3x on price. But of course, you won't actually be able to. You actually will not be able to backwards engineer that calculation because of the way that market cap is calculated, which many people don't know. Many people think that the market cap is like the literal amount of money that is in an asset. It is not that at all. What it is the last traded price multiplied by the total outstanding shares, which obviously many people bought below the current price. In fact, probably most people bought significantly below the current price. So it's not really indicative of that, of what's totally liquid in that asset. But it does give us kind of like a generalized idea of where things are. But it's far from perfect, unfortunately. I still think that price is going to be the best suited for anything regarding that conversation. Anyways, states, bakes, countries, and retails, 169 to 189,000 top. I'm actually going to upload a video next week, I do think, about my projections for where I think the cycle top could come in around. It's kind of in alignment with what I'm looking around in maybe a more optimistic way, but certainly possible here. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. Bitcoin adds a zero. Surprise, surprise. Well, I actually know a 2x or 3x move would not add a zero here, unfortunately. Maybe over time, that could make sense. Like if Bitcoin did get to gold's market cap, so let's do that calculation now. So if Bitcoin got to gold's market cap, it would need to essentially 10x in market cap from here. Again, 10x from $100,000 does put you at $1 million, but it's not going to be that. It's probably going to be closer to like a 5 or 6x if I had to guess, but that gets you to $500,000 if Bitcoin were to reach gold's market cap. So I do think that gunning for things over $1 million is. I think in any proximal future is quite unlikely. Maybe it happens like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road. Who the fuck knows? I would imagine some sort of hyperinflation goes alongside that as well if things truly do reach that level. I think it'd be maybe even a more concerning signal for just the way that the global financial system is currently working. But I guess we'll see. Yes, of course, there's 21 million finite supply, but it's infinitely divisible. How does that work? I can't even understand that, to be honest. But Krown, Fiboswani said we're going to go to 130,000. Well, we can have different views. We are different people. Yes, this is did you know that not everyone needs to believe the same fucking thing? That's crazy, man. Holy shit. What? Oh my God. We can believe two different things? That's unbelievable. Fuck you, man. I'm not opposed to that. I do think that 180,000 is probably the highest, but that's just my opinion. Or actually, I think I haven't gone back to my notes on this video for a while, but I actually think it is a little bit higher than that for like my ultimate highest projection for this cycle. What's up, Mr. Peter Underwood? Good morning to you, my man. It is good to see you here. He is a very, 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 very valuable member in our Discord community, which, by the way, anyone can join in on Discord. There's been a massive influx of people into Discord recently, which is good. We've got some good characters. We've got some bad characters. We've got some characters who need some fucking banning, which I trust my man Caretaker to do. He is the fucking hound. He is the hound who can sniff out any wrongdoing. This guy has a sixth sense for just slimy, scummy scammer type people. It's absolutely insane. He's always fucking right. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. I swear, Elsa is laughing exactly like my cat is doing. That's right. Elsa is actually a cat. It's Cat Elsa. No, Elsa bird. She's a bird. Anyways, we need QT to stop. Equals send it. I mean, I guess, but also I don't know. I don't know if the net effect is even even QT right now, to be honest. But it does really seem to me that this administration, the Trump administration, is very clear that they want interest rates to be coming down. And probably QA to start, I would guess. And, well, I guess we'll see. You know, we got Dixie sitting here at about 108, and does look to me like the monthly's putting in a swing high. I do think that this one will work its way down. I do think it'll work its way closer to like 104 and a half, 105 region. But it could put in a higher low there and then continue on later, perhaps. I mean, it's possible. But, you know, next month should be down from here. So that should also provide another, it should. I mean, you know, it theoretically provides a tailwind for risk assets like Bitcoin. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, if there's, in my opinion, the hardest chart to analyze is probably Dixie, just because it's so driven by macroeconomic events, which, you know, for me, I have no edge there. I'm not an insider. If the only people who have an edge there are insiders, to be honest, or if you're like literally doing studies into the very specifics of like countries' GDPs and shit like this. I mean, that's not me, unfortunately. So my edge is not there. But yeah, man, difficult. QE most likely won't happen until March. Sure. Do you mean QE as in interest rates coming down, or QE like actual QE? Because those are two different things, sir. Interest rates probably do come down around there. I don't know if QE begins around that, but we'll see. Anyways. Some good old caffeine here. I heart crypto shit fuck. Elsa USD weekly. Oh, that's from Crypto Shart. Crypto Shark, great. This is a very interesting question I just caught out of the side of my eye. Steve Buys Crypto says, unrelated question. Krown, you are a successful trader. Do you drive a fancy car or not really a car guy? I don't even have a license, man. I don't even have a license right now. I actually do kind of like driving, but I hate being in cars, man. It really honestly scares me. Every time I get in a car, I just think we're going to get in an accident. It's the craziest thing to me. Like, the biggest miracle in the world is what happens every day, which is hundreds of millions of people get into cars, and a very small fraction of them get into actual accidents, and even smaller fraction get into like serious accidents. But it just scares the shit out of me. Also plane flights as well. Those scare the shit out of me too, especially recently, because I feel like social media is highlighting every plane failure in the last year, and like, oh my God, this sounds terrible. Yeah, I actually really do not have a license, man. I appreciate cars. I'm just not huge into it. You know, if I see what I think is a cool car, yeah. Just recently, we went to Elsa's parents' house, and her father was driving us around, and it's snow everywhere, it's ice everywhere. It like you can't even really see the road, and I'm like gripping my fucking seat. I'm so afraid. I'm so fucking scared. I actually would be more in alignment with the Amish there, Mr. Michael Blast. I would drive a horse and. Well, Elsa's informing me that her father was laughing at me, but I can't tell anyways because they don't speak English and I don't speak fucking Finnish, which is exactly the way that it should be. All right. I got some water here as well. I think we're just about ready to get in some Bitcoin analysis. today should actually be a rather fun video because today is, well, it's a monthly closure. Monthly closure always important. Hear my nice little bot in the background there doing its slave duties. Perhaps we can check on that a little bit later. Anyways, let me just grab my notes over here. Okay. How do I want to position this? Well, I think we can start off with a little bit of a simplistic look here for Bitcoin. Oops, let me actually go to Bitcoin. That would probably be a good idea. Should we record this? Sure, can we record this? It's the last day of the trading month for Bitcoin and all markets, by the way, and there are some very, very important major higher term time frame closures, namely the monthly, that are closing tonight, which can give some major indications as to where things are likely to trend towards in February. And as of right now, I just want to acknowledge that the monthly is well above that red 5 exponential moving average after finding the low of the month on the red 5 exponential moving average here. And with Bitcoin back above $100,000, I mean, that does put it into a position of power, especially when we look at some of our momentum oscillators. I haven't brought this one up for a while, but the monthly Joule is seemingly going to get another continuation signal here. And if that does print and confirm upon February's open, that would be a really good indication to me that February very likely does trade upwards and onwards from here. On top of that, we even see that monthly volatility is starting to increase off of the lows. In fact, the last couple of times that we've actually seen it increase off of the lows where it crosses the moving average there, those have been the beginnings of some pretty major macro moves. This one to the downside, this one to the upside. If we're just going to go over those two, of course, we can go further back than that. I won't spend too much time here, but here would be the prior one before this macro move as well. So, Bitcoin is very likely baking something here, and it very likely will confirm across above that moving average by tonight's closure as well. But let's get into some maybe more important things for the monthly closure here. One, we can see from the monthly HPDR, Bitcoin as of right now is well above the median. Bitcoin has not been above the median since the 2024 rally, like the early portion of the 2024 rally, when things got really fucking crazy, when Bitcoin went from about $40,000 to $74,000, basically within 2 months. So reclaiming the median here by tonight's closure, which will be had if Bitcoin closes above $100,000, it's a pretty damn good indication that Bitcoin is going to probably enter the final leg of this market cycle, with potential to the 38.2 level. And if things get super crazy, I mean the 50% level right here. Of course, these numbers will shift around upon each and every monthly open and closure, but for right now, those are, dare I say, quite high. So fair enough. Of course, we do want to see where the new monthly HPDR opens tomorrow. I mean, it is theoretically possible that the median goes up like super high and then price opens below it, and that would kind of look a little bit more toppy. But for right now, I do think it's a little bit more likely for the median to come down into next month, actually giving things a little bit more of a buffer zone and probably indicating the low or very likely where the low of February will be if things are going to be bullish. So, if the monthly median opens up, let's say around like $96,000, again, I'm not saying it is, but just for example's sake, if it does, then I would say February has, if there's going to be a pullback, that would be an area of interest and probably going to be a higher low somewhere around there. On top of that, we can go over to the 5-day HPDR. The 5-day did close above the median as well, but we don't really see anything of like super significance here. I mean, the 5-day did close as like a doji dildo, so it doesn't, to me, that's not very confidence inducing either which way. 10-day time frame, same shit. Actually, no, it closed a little bit below the median right there. I do suspect that we'll at least get a test towards the median on this next 10-day, which is actually 10 days from now because this one just opened up last night. But if it at least tests the median, that would imply Bitcoin essentially retests the current all-time high, 108.5 to $109,000. And if Bitcoin starts to really reclaim this on the 10-day, I'd say that's when pressure is like significantly onto the upside. Moving on from there, we can go over stochastic momentum, both for the monthly and those 5 and 10-day timeframes. The monthly timeframe, you can see, is going to be once again continuing to the upside, assuming that Bitcoin closed today above 90,000. Right now, it's more than $10,000 above that number. Crazier thing. I mean, I was going to say crazier things have happened, but actually, I cannot recall a time when Bitcoin's crashed more than $14,000 in one day. But you always want to keep an open mind, right? I'm very curious to see where the new momentum pivot comes in for February. But I do also want to acknowledge that the monthly stochastic oscillator it's been in the critical zone for a very long time, and it's been quite high in the critical zone for a very long time in a way that we haven't really seen last for too long in the past. So I do look at this again as like a timing feature that, this cycle, I don't think is going until the end of the year. I do think maybe at most it goes until the end of the first half of this year. Again, I can be wrong on this, of course. I'd be happy to be wrong on this, but just looking at something like this, it does make me consider that that's, less likely. And then of course, when we do go to the 5-day time frame, this one also upon the new open is going to continue up as long as Bitcoin's above 103. So I would be looking at that as kind of like a short-term pivot, meaning that as long as Bitcoin's above 103, there is pressure onto the upside, and we could theoretically have a breakout at any moment in time. In the 10-day time frame, also is pivoted at about a little bit above 103.750. You want to be super exact, but kind of around the same area, especially when you consider that these are very high term timeframes. And then of course we got the weekly. The weekly for CME is going to be closing today. For spot price action, it'll be Sunday, obviously, but for CME, which very likely does massively influence spot price action, you're going to see yet another bounce off of the critical zone. Again, I look at that as a signal of very strong upwards momentum, but it's probably not going to last for a super significant amount of time. But that will officially be had, assuming that Bitcoin finishes the day above 99,000 bucks on CME. So that's 14 hours, 33 minutes to go. So we'll see what happens with that, I guess, tomorrow. And other than that, I wanted to bring up one last, actually, sorry, I forgot to mention this. The 2-day time frame setup here, the 2-day time frame RSI versus EMA setup that we spoke about yesterday, as possible, did indeed fire off upon last night's closure. So that fired off at a price of about, pretty much where price is at right now, to be fair. And we also see that there's a drive of phantom hidden bullish divergence right here. And as long as Bitcoin, or sorry, not Bitcoin, but as long as the RSI is above this exponential moving average, that will indicate that the trade remains open, and we can actually backwards engineer what price Bitcoin would need to close below in order to force that cross in the other direction. And that would be 103,750, which we saw that exact number come up on one of our other indicators. So, I'm looking at that as a big level. As long as Bitcoin's above there, I guess Bitcoin could break out from here. If Bitcoin does start to come below there, I would be expecting February to kind of open up on a correction, find its lows early in the month, wherever the monthly median is, and then very likely begin its work to the upside. But here, hey, damn it, you bastard, you didn't generate your report, you fucking bastard. You had one job. Your one job was to generate your report. That's your only duties here. And yeah, this strategy does have a very low win rate. The last one was actually win rate here. But when it does win, it typically wins big. So we'll see. Again, just keep that number in the back of your mind. And then one last thing that I want to also follow up on as well from yesterday's video was a global liquidity index strategy. Again, I'm using the Quant Prime service to set up all of these back testings, by the way, just for the people who are wondering. And the long that was opened on the prior 5-day period was actually closed last night. So, it's not really a gain or loss here. It's technically counting as a win. But we did see that oh God, it's so annoying how these are so close. Yeah. We do see that the crossover did indeed happen. So opening below there, but I would be looking at this crossover in the sense that if and when we do see the global liquidity cross above the moving average, that once again opens up the doors for a more abrupt rally, like more likely to happen now. But for right now, that would actually say that is no longer in your favor, unfortunately, which is, could have made things a little bit easier, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's all just data. And that's where we'll end the video for today. It's going to be a very interesting monthly closure in just a short half day here. And we'll end things on that note. As always, wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you tomorrow. There we go. Nice one, man. All right, let me bring up all the chats here. I see that there's already a very decent amount, actually. Okay, let's see. As always, Stephen Schickman is first, and he also has the same questions as well. Doggy and Ethereum, any divergences? Well, let's check it out. All right, let's go. Actually, yeah, let's go here. Or no, if you want divergences, you want this one. All right. Well, is there anything on the monthly? No. because you are in an uptrend and the RSI is higher than the last local high from March of 2024. So no, you don't have shit there. Weekly, do you have any sort of divergences? I suppose you could potentially put in some hidden bullish divergence here if it does confirm a local low on this next weekly. So that won't be happening this week, potentially next week. Unfortunately, though, in order to confirm a low, as of now, it would need to pop back up above about 40 cents. Now that number can perhaps come down over the next coming weeks, but if it was going to happen next week, that's what I'd be saying, because you actually do have lower lows on the weekly RSI as of right now. So that would be potential. If we go over to Ethereum and look at the same shit, Ethereum just continuing to be one among the weakest of the big caps. Do I see any divergence here? No, it's basically a line chart. If you look at it like this, hasn't really moved much. Hasn't really done shit. In fact, looking at the monthly, is there any divergences here? No, there is not. We do not see higher highs, so therefore there cannot be bearish divergence in this case. Ethereum still kind of in waiting, and I'd still be saying that as long as Ethereum's above about 3,000 or especially $3,200, it's probably going to be okay. But if the monthly does start to close below these regions, then that would make me very concerned. It wouldn't make me concerned. It would make me think that this thing's going to come well below $3,000, like probably closer to 25 or 2,200, somewhere in that pocket. But yeah, that's well and far away. Again, as long as it's above, especially 3,200, I think that's fine, man. I think it's fine. Just a laggard, and well, you already know. Anyways, Martin Hunt, he's back. He says, "Good morning, sir. Could you please take a look at my fart coins on the daily?" No problem, man. Bend over and show me your Angus. Fart coin. I typed in fat coin. My fats. Anyways, looks like a top to me on the monthly. I forgot what I said about this last week. Let me see. I feel like I would have had a chart for this one. Fart derp. Sir, I have to warn you, though. I really do think that I have to warn you. Like, it sounds so wrong, but I have to give my opinion on this. I mean, I don't have to do anything, but look, I don't think memes are the play. And I don't think that they have been the play for like a month or two now. I think that the meme game is over. Anyways, as far as Altcoin goes, do I think it's top tier? Yes, I do think it's top. Do I think it's going to bounce before it enters into the long-term dead heartbeat, dying swan pattern? Yeah, I mean, this thing probably does bounce sometime in February. I think it could bounce anywhere around 1.5 to 1 3/4. Very possible, but this is a top. That, I mean, if the monthly closes like this, you can't tell me that's not a fucking top. Okay, you can tell me that that's not a top. Maybe I'm wrong on it, but for the love of God, I mean, from the top to where it's currently at right now, this is 63% reduction in price, reduction in my net worth. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. But like I said, there's very likely going to be a big bounce in February. I just think that bounce is like the last chance opportunity. I think, like, best case scenario, most hopium bullish goggles infused on my face, maybe gets to $2, but I think that's extremely optimistic. Justin Tomiak says, "Good day, mate. Good day to you too, sir." Oh my God, CGPT. Okay, there we go. All right, you're looking at KUDERP and you're looking at a daily and weekly. Okay. Yeah. Again, another one of these charts that's just not super interesting long term. This one, I think that this one's probably top for the cycle, honestly. Let me go down to a daily. There's very likely going to be a bounce here, similar to Altcoin. Maybe it gets back up to like 35 cents. Very possible, something like this. I do think it's going to open up on a bounce in February, but I don't like charts that look like this, man. Again, here's your monthly. Like, that is fucking ugly. I do think that this one, after bouncing in February, probably gives up that bounce and makes its way back down to kind of where it's at right now, or probably even below 20 cents. I mean, that is just fucking grotesque, honestly. A chart only a mother could love. But yeah, there very likely is a bounce in the more short term here, and that bounce can be very big. I mean, that's a 50% bounce or more that I think really wouldn't be too hard to be getting, but goddamn, the long term on these things, it's not great. Anyways, Dr. Checkmate says TLT, the bond ETF. Got it. Okay, TLT. Here we go. And you are looking at the daily and the 8-day. The 8-day, that's not even one that I have on my list. It looks like this does trend, although I don't really watch this too much myself, but what's your trend right now? It's to the downside, so I'm just looking for lower highs here. Maybe it gives one more spike up closer to like 89 and a half, $90, but I do think that you're putting in a top around these regions. Yeah, weekly says the bounce isn't done just yet, so actually, yeah, about 90-ish, maybe even 91. If things get really crazy, could move up to the 55 here, but again, long term, I'm never going to like something like this, but this is a bond. Bonds trade differently. And actually, when I go to a monthly, could this thing bottom here? Yes, it could bottom here, but I think in this case, just because you found a bottom does not mean you're going to be moving significantly to the upside for a long time. In fact, actually, the LARP lines that I drew here, who knows how long ago, this was like back in last summer, still generally correct, I would say, just sideways on these lows for a long time. I mean, this can take multiple years, and then maybe it gets a tremendously large bounce, but I don't think it's going to be doing anything like significant to the upside. It's just short-term moves to the upside right now, but maintaining the overall monthly range. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful, sir. Let's see. Sudesh Pele says LDO USD. Okay, from South Africa. Fuck yeah, man. We were looking at videos of South Africa. It's actually very beautiful. Also very scary. A lot of shit going on there right now, apparently. But it is very beautiful, I will say. Cape Town, especially. Anyways, LDO, much better than a lot of the other shitcoins we've looked at today. This one having a very constructive consolidation here, and I would be looking for this one to probably spike this high again from December. Somewhere around 230 to $2.50. Long term, it's not super interesting chart, but I do think that you are putting in, you are confirming the weekly reversal here. Weekly higher low, momentum turning back onto the upside. I do think it's going to retest that high at that point. I think it confirms a reversal and it does move up more. But again, this can take some time, maybe until like April or something, and perhaps gives another try to the top side of your very long term range, which is between about $3.30 to $3.50. I think that's very possible here. Does it break out from that number or not? I don't know. If it does, then you got like a real big move on your hand. But until then, it's always hard to front run a breakout like that. But yeah, I do think that this one does move up in the coming months, actually significantly. So pretty good. I mean, again, LDO from like $2 to $3. That's a 50% move. So not bad. All right. We have Margozina says okay, just one. We can't look at all these shitcoins. For the love of God. Like, what is this? What is this? That is one of the triggering things for me. It's like when people ask it's like, haven't you noticed? Anyways, maybe just my own craziness. Anyways, daily here, actually quite good. Momentum turning back up as long as this thing's above 130. It's well above there right now. I do think that this thing could very easily retest your January highs, somewhere around 1 3/4 to maybe even 180. But overall, this is just one massive consolidation range for the time being. So, could it pop up here, reject, come back down, play out a sideways range, and then maybe set up for a breakout later? Perhaps yes, but until you get closures above this region, I would not be looking for like the big move, the big bad breakout. But yeah, next move probably does try a little bit more to the upside, to be fair. Anyways, the real G squared says, hey, Krown, what's up, man? ERG USD on KUDERP. Okay, ERG. All right. Ergo. I started putting salt in my water, and it's actually really good, just in case you happen to give a fuck. Anyways, looking at the 4-hour here, as you did request, the greater picture is, yeah, you are kind of playing off the range lows here, right? It isn't a downtrend, but you're playing off the range lows. It's always a difficult spot, when you're going against trend, but you are in range lows in this case. So Probably does bounce again. Could bounce up to like 160, maybe even like 170 if things get super crazy. But I mean, that's just a 4-hour time frame. In the very, very short term, does it spend more time around these lows? Probably yes. Probably yes. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But I do think that you will get another bounce off of these lows. Let me just... The long term is terrible, though. And even if it does get another bounce off these lows, it's very likely to fail. This thing has only failed over the long term. It's just fucking garbage, man. It's fucking garbage. Absolute fucking garbage. So... While it probably does get another short-term bounce, I would be very cognizant that as long as this thing's below, especially like 210, very bearish long-term, and probably in the process of putting in its next macro lower high. But I will be wrong. If you see this thing trade above your December highs, and it'll get its first reversal ever in its whole history, which I think is unlikely, but that would do it for me. Anyways. We have Ina Marie next. She says, Tesla on the weekly, please. TSLA. Yeah. I forget where we looked at this one last time or what chart I had on. Let's see. Do I have this chart on? Yeah. Okay. It's still playing within our range. Don't have any LARP lines here to be looking at, but I'd be looking for it to continue to play out within this range. Long-term bullish as long as you're above 370, but I think it can spend a little bit more time here. I wouldn't be declaring any sort of major macro breakout on the monthly unless if we see a monthly closure above about 415, 420-ish region. Right now, it's not really close there. I mean, that would require like a 5% move today, which I think is quite unlikely for the monthly closure. So, does this thing continue to range for most of February? I would say probably yes. Does it try another upside move in the short term? Yeah, I think it probably will. But as long as you're on a daily closing basis, not a monthly, but a daily below about 450, I don't really look at anything as a breakout or breakdown, between here. But again, above 370, long-term bullish bias, but not confirmed on a breakout until above 450, or if the monthly by some act of God closes today above let's just call it 420. All right. Oh, you asked about the weekly specifically. Yeah, I think it's going to bounce around here and fill out this range a little bit more. Probably does break out to the upside long term, but give it some time. All right, Peepoo says Fartcoin versus Ethereum. Based Fartcoin, yes. We need the farts. I was minting some Fartcoins this morning, actually. Maybe you've heard of it. Why is that funny to you? Why is that funny to you? Kind of reminds me of some of the other shitcoins that we looked at. I'm minting. I'm minting. There's not much to be going off here, to be honest, man. If I had to call it, I think, next short-term move is going to be to the upside. Okay, no, when I go down to a 4-hour, that's very obviously not the case. It's ranging on the lows. You're already in a 4-hour downtrend, I guess. I think next move probably comes down a little bit, but probably bounces off this low side of the range again. Don't think it's going to like fully break down just yet, but sideways for a while. I think that the people playing games with meme coins you're very late to the party right now, to be honest. Just to shoot you completely straight, because look, I don't have any fucking dog in this race when it comes to meme coins, but my opinion after seeing a lot of them, especially over the past month, meme coins you're going to get bounces very likely in February, I think, on a lot of these things, but these things are not moving. These things have put in most of their all-time highs, like most of their all-time highs for all time, for a lot of them, I think. Justin Tomiak says, desync 4-hour and daily only because I need validation that my buy on spot at 30 cents was a relatively good decision. Let's see. Desync. All right. Well, let's see. Let's give it an open mind here. Okay, you bought at 30 cents, so you bought pretty much exactly where it's at right now. I do think it's going to bounce from here. It's kind of a weird looking chart to me, though, but I do think, you're closer to the range lows. You rejected the range lows a couple times already in January. Probably more likely to bounce from this region again. Could very easily look something like this. Might retest around those lows, but should bounce up. You should get a move somewhere around like 40 to 45 cents, I think, in the coming month or two. And then if it does reject there, that would be a little bit concerning to me. Yeah, other than that, I wouldn't extrapolate too far down the line because this one is kind of a strange looking chart to me, to be honest. Both the daily and the weekly don't really hold trends, it seems, and the monthly is kind of ugly long term. So if it does bounce, I mean, maybe that's an opportunity to get out. But I mean, if you bought at 30 cents, I mean, that's a pretty big move anyway. So yeah. It's hard to say if it's a good decision or not because I don't really know what your plan to do with this is. If your plan is to hold for the next 5 years, who the hell knows? If your plan is to hold for the next couple months, yeah, probably fine. Or maybe not a couple months, but month and a half. Anyways, what's this mythical honey chicken recipe you speak of, sir? Says KG. Actually, one of the beautiful things about Finland is that all of the food in the grocery store is really fucking good. Actually, it's hilariously fucking good, man. And the standards for food quality here are super, super high. And they actually just literally make it for you. It comes in packages from the grocery store itself. It's just chicken plus honey. And I never knew about this shit before coming to Finland. But apparently in Finland, it's a completely normal thing. And you can find it at just about any supermarket that you go to. But I'm curious to know from our worldwide community here if that's a thing in your country and what country you're from as well. Because that'd be very interesting to know if this really is just a Nordic thing or if other countries know about these secrets too. Anyways, moving on, we have Stefan Milicevic. He says, Happy Friday to you as well, sir. NVIDIA daily and possible low targets. Let's check this one out. I don't think we've looked at this one in a while, actually. Well, I do think that it is setting up for a bounce here, just first glance. Weekly came down pretty significantly, but, intra-week bounce is also quite strong. I think that this thing could, fill somewhere around the gap at 135, 140-ish region. If it's bullish, then this should be the next higher low. But to confirm this as a low from here would take at least 2 weeks from now. So I don't think it's wise to be extrapolating that far down the line just yet. It's possible, yes, but I want to see how the bounce happens first, and I want to see the next 2 weeks of price action. But from here, yeah, very likely does bounce. I think that you found a low here, just to put it very, very succinctly. Monthly, if this is indeed not the low, and it does want to come lower, I think your next obvious area is basically $100. But let's give this area a chance first. I want to see a bounce first. If you see a bounce and then a big rejection around here, and then it comes back down to the lows, okay, yeah, then you're very likely headed further south towards $100, maybe even a little bit lower. But for now, give it a chance to bounce. Come back to it after that, I think. Yeah, but as far as low, I think it's putting in a low right here, man. Just is that the next higher low before this thing never looks back? I don't know. I don't know for this one. It's hard to bet against right now. The real G Squared says, if you could box one person alive or dead, who would you fight? Oh my God. Elsa says me. Yeah, you should bet on me. I'll tell you that. If me and Elsa fight, bet on me. I'm gonna win. There ain't no way she's winning. She's been going to the gym, but not long enough. You do a better balance than me, but I will absolutely fucking murder you. Anyways, Calamity says, Mr. Krown, hello, sir. Good morning to you, sir. Is Turbo toast? Is this a meme coin? If it is, I think most of these things are toast. Long term, do I think it's found its all-time high here? Yes. Short term, do I think it's going to bounce here? Also, yes. Do I think this bounce is going to lead you back up towards those prior all-time highs? No, definitely not. Or I shouldn't say definitely not, but very unlikely too. But yes, a bounce could easily come into this area right here, which is a big move. I mean, that's like a 50% move. And still be bearish long term. I mean, shit, this thing could pop all the way up to 1 cent and still be bearish to me long term. I'll just be looking for a rejection there. The only way that I'd switch around my opinion on this, if you see, a higher term time frame closure above this high here from late December, until then, I do think that it is wrecked long term. These LARP lines over here worked out pretty well too. Nice sideways and up, boom. Yeah, and then over here, I think you're going to get a bounce, but just be aware that, you know, lower highs, especially below 1 cent, I mean, sets this thing up for lower long term. Here's your monthly, like very ugly, very fucking ugly. Another meme coin that I think has seen an all-time high. In fact, we haven't seen one meme coin today that looks like it's not done for the cycle. Again, I'm not saying that these things can't bounce. In fact, most of these things that we looked at are looking for bounces here, but that's fucking bad. Davy says, please, sir, please look at Regent Soul. Okay. Regent Soul. All right. Okay. I found it. 4 hour time frame. Okay. Very bizarre price action going on here. I really don't have an opinion on this, man. It looks very strange to me. If I had to call it, I'd tell you what you probably already know, which is that you're in a trading range here. Here's your highs, here's your lows. You're in the middle of it. My rules: do not trade the middle of a trading range. Just gonna get fucking chewed up there. If I had to call it, next move, might put in a low somewhere close to 1 cent, but I do think would bounce there. But generally trading sideways within this range for a while. I don't think it's going to break down in the short term. I do think that you will get a rally in February, and you probably will see, I don't know, around like 3 cents or so. Again, kind of a big move from where it's at right now. Anyways, but other than that, I don't really have any strong opinion on this. It's very bizarre looking one to me. But at least it's in an uptrend. So that's something that most of these meme coins cannot say. Anyways, Colin Maker has left a super chat, but no comments. So feel free to have a comment, man. I mean, that's the point, but we appreciate it anyways. So all good. Calamity says, Sir Quantiest, yeah, tag Elsa if you do want to leave a comment. Mr. Colin. Anyways, Altura, ALU, daily, weekly, when bearish. Well, okay, I will go in a moment. When bearish, actually, I would not necessarily be bearish on this one just yet. It's in a trading range. It's bouncing off the low side of the range. The LARP lines here, again, just generally sideways for a while. I think next move is a bounce. I'd only be bearish if it takes out this week's low and close below there. Until then, I think you're getting ready to bounce. Monthly momentum or weekly momentum is turning back up. It's coming off the low side of the range. To me, that is a bounce setup. Also, daily momentum turning up as well. Yeah. So I'm not saying that it can't be bearish, but I just wouldn't be until it actually takes out this region here. Until then, it can go sideways for a while. Let me, where was it? Two down. Where, yes, okay, I see. Yeah, Sui and Soul. Sui Soul. Sell your fucking soul. All right, let's check this one out. I do think has this one put in a top here or not? It does look very, very toppy, yes, but that looks quite toppy to me. So if Sui has topped out versus Solana, then Solana should gain versus Sui, but this next move should be to the upside. It should bounce pretty significantly here. Something like this. So Sui actually will gain versus Solana, very likely in the short term is what I'm suggesting, but I think long term it has topped out. So yeah, it is kind of difficult with these charts relative to each other because we're actually not looking at price. We're looking at their market cap, which is a little bit of a different calculation, unfortunately. Crypto Shart says, I heart crypto. Shit fuck ELA USD. ELA, whoops, ELA USD. Okay, Elastos. What the fuck is this thing? Wow. We have found one of the shittiest of the shits. I do think it's going to move up from here, to be fair. I do think it is in a rally phase, but God, I hate these ones long term. They're just so fucking bad, so fucking ugly, man, so fucking ugly. But short term, does it continue on with this rally? Maybe even back up to like $2.90 or $3? Yeah, possible. I think next move is up. But the second that it takes out this month's lows, I mean, that's okay. Maybe not the second, but if and when it does, I mean, continuation of long term trend, and your long term trend is down, more down, but. Give it a chance to bounce here. I'd flip around to being long-term bullish if it could confirm a reversal, but that's not happening until it trades back above 6.30. Well and far away from where it's at right now. Michael Palmer, holy shit, man. Michael Palmer, one of my best friends from fucking college, man. He says, I can confirm, Krown hates to drive. No, I hate driving with you, you crazy bastard. You're out of your fucking mind. This guy in college, he would be driving us in some quite nice cars, I'll say. Just fucking flooring this shit, man. Like doing exactly what you think a college male with a lot of testosterone wants to do with a very nice car. But it was fucking scary, man. This guy would be weaving in and out of traffic and just, oh my God. I actually did not like driving with, I really do not like driving with you, sir. But to your credit, I don't think you've been in an accident just yet. But yeah, man, hope all is well, dude. It's been a long time, man. It's been a very long time. Business. What the fuck is this? Business Alpha Short. It's a hard one. Hey, sir, please thoughts on Caspa Daily. All right, Caspa. Let's see. Where is this thing at? I think the LARP lines here are still playing out. I think it's generally bouncing from this region. I think it generally bounces up somewhere around 15 cents. And the real question is, can it close above 15 cents? If it does, then it probably gets another decent rally to the top side of this range. You know, your December highs, maybe again, like 19, 20 cents. But yeah, putting in a higher low right here, it looks like momentum is about to turn up upon today's closure. Yeah, I think that this one's moving sideways and up, at least for the next move. Long term, let's see what the monthly looks like. Yeah, I mean, the monthly has had so many chances here to break down, and it hasn't. And that to me is a sign that it'll at least try one more move to the upside. Yeah, not terrible. Especially when you consider that this thing has like actually held most of its gains throughout its life. I mean, that's crazy. Anyways, MVRK says Griffane 5-day and weekly. Griffane. Okay, let's check it out. Terrible. Wow. And if there ever was a time to drop it, we're nuking this shit. We're nuking this one. It's fucking garbage. We should have nuked a lot of these ones. We should actually I need to drop like 5 nukes. All right, ready? Nuke number 1. Nuke number 2. Nuke number 3. Nuke number 4. Nuke number 5. Fuck your charts. I'm not saying fuck you. I'm saying fuck your charts because it is a garbage piece of shit chart. That is true. That is a factual statement. Do I think it's going to bounce here just by the virtue of retesting your prior all-time lows, essentially? Yeah, somewhere around here. Maybe it puts another wick a little bit lower first and then tries for a bounce. But again, this thing could bounce all the way up to fucking 40, even 50 cents and still be long-term bearish. So while I do think the next move is going to be a bounce, I do think your bounce is going to fail. I think long-term this thing is seen the highs. Crazy ideas. Joey Burden says, OM mantra. Okay. OM, let's check this one out on the crypto. Actually, significantly different chart than anything else we've seen. Now, I remember this one. We've been bullish on this one for a while. I think the breakout is real. I think this thing continues in February. If you do get a pullback, I'd be looking somewhere around like 5.25, but bullish as long as you're above 4.5, which is very far away from it, right? From current price action. This thing looks like it wants more. I think it trades to a new high in February, probably, maybe even March as well. One of the strongest charts that we've seen today. How much more does this current rally have? I mean, you're already seeing extremes right here. So, you know, in terms of timing, I think that the short-term rally probably does find a bit of a high and then trade sideways and down into a consolidation. I don't know, in the next week or two. But overall, you know, that would imply still new highs in February, I suppose. If you're looking at the 4 hour specifically, a little bit weird here on this one. I think that it could easily pull back to like 5.25.25, but I would be looking for a higher low there. You are seeing extremes here as well. So, you know, does it go into a 4 hour consolidation while the daily continues to trend? Possible. Yeah, definitely possible there. Joey Burden says AI16Z may be topped, but how high can she bounce? I think that's the big question on a lot of these things, actually, is, you know, a lot of them are setting up for some, oh my God, dude.
Nuclear launch.
There you go. I mean, it already retested the prior all-time low, and it did have a bounce here. How big was this bounce before it rolled over? 30%. Does it bounce again before actually like breaking down? Probably. I'd be betting on another bounce, honestly. But in the short term, does it give another wick try to the, you know, to these lows here? I think yes, actually. So I do think actually this one probably reaches a little bit lower first, then tries for a bounce. If it wants to bounce, I mean, shit, man, this thing could bounce all the way up to $1 and it wouldn't mean shit, you know? It's just lower highs the whole way through. Extremely bearish as long as you're below, especially this high right here, long term. Which is like 1.25. So it's got some work to do, sir. It's got a lot of work to do, in fact. And this one even looking a little bit weak already on the balance, which is like not the best sign. Anyways, Joey Burden says checks full hour and daily. Excuse my spam. It's past bedtime. It's all good, sir. Checks. Okay. Checks dollar. All right. On MexDerp. Actually, significantly different than many things that we've seen today. Putting in a higher low here. Momentum about to turn up today if it closes above 52,125, which it's like a literal ball sack here above right now. I think that this one trades up actually somewhere closer to this high, like 64 cents. And I wouldn't be bearish on it, honestly. I would only be bearish on it if it takes out Wednesday's low. Until then, this thing is actually, I mean, it's actually in a constructive consolidation, putting in a higher low, and probably moves up to the range highs now. Do I think it's going to break out of this range high? Probably not on this current move, but it can continue on the consolidation a little bit longer and then break out. I don't know, maybe like late February or something, but yeah, not terrible. What is this thing? What is this thing? Anyways, Emmanuel B says, hello, sir. Virtual protocol. Okay, again, just one. I think the ticker for this is virtuals. Yeah, okay, you would guess. LARP line's not right on this one, I will say. But we can try again. We can try again. Do I think you're going to bounce off of this low here? Yes. I mean, you're seeing momentum get really fucking beat up here. It's due for a pity bounce. You're also on a last prior major local high. But just like some of the other ones that we've looked at today, you know, it's very bearish as long as you're below this last trending high, which was $4. That's a 2x move from where it's currently at. But you know, that would be a big bounce. I mean, it could bounce very easily to like $3.5 and then put in a lower high and then continue on with the downside. But let's see what the higher term time frames say. Yeah, I think that this one's topped out for the cycle, man. Next move is probably a bounce, yes, but I'd be very cognizant that this bounce is highly likely to lead towards a bull trap. It could be like 3.5-ish if it wants. All right. Rob says, hello, sir. Can you please look at Celo on the daily? Sure. CELO. Okay. All right. Wow. Ugly as fuck. Crazy. Ugly as fuck chart. Disastrously bad. This chart is a calamity, sir. Look, I think that this one's certainly seen the cycle highs, or nearly certainly seen the cycle highs, lower highs the whole way through. Even the next move is probably to the, I mean, okay, the next short-term move on the daily probably does try for a bounce, maybe even bounce to like 60, 65 cents, but long-term, I don't think it's doing anything significant to the upside from here. You know, on this bounce, I think it just finds another rejection, and this thing very, very likely, I think, very fucking likely comes back down towards 40 cents, maybe even in February. I would think at least by March. But short term, I do think it sets up for a little bit of a short term bounce. Let's see. ROC Pile Crypto, Rock Pile Crypto. Hey, can you take a look at VTHO? Sure. VTHO. Okay. It's Bethord. It is a new one. And actually significantly better than many things that we've seen today. In fact, I do see a higher low. I do see that it is already trading above the last prior high, so you do have a reversal in the making here. It would be really nice to see it actually close above about 6.5 tenths of a cent to really confirm that. But I do think that it will, given enough time. Daily momentum is freshly turned back on here to the upside. It's already around the top side of the range, so if and when it does break out there, I'd be looking for it to retest your April of 2021 highs. This is a monthly, by the way. Weekly, same shit. Actually looking pretty decent here. Daily, probably works off these extreme conditions for a little while, consolidates on a daily a little bit more. But I think that this one actually will follow through to the upside. Just give it a little bit of time, probably in February. Yeah, overall fine. Follow the trend, sir. All right. Joey Burden says SPX 69,000. SPX 69. Whoops. I always make this spelling error like an actual lobotomized fucking moron. The lobotomies. Actually not bad. And I think the LARP lines here are generally going to be right as well. Next move, or I think this move continues to the upside actually in the short term. Daily momentum freshly turning up above 123. It's trading at 128 right now. I think it probably spikes somewhere around like $1.50, give or take a little bit from that number. But you do still continue on with the overall uptrend and long-term bullish as long as you're above, especially $1. So, if it does trade up closer to like 1.5-ish, let's say, and then pulls back from there and puts another higher low, I'd say that's going to be a really strong indication that this thing actually might break out to new all-time highs. This is the only meme coin that we've seen today that I wouldn't just blindly say that it's seen the all-time high yet. Yeah, when I look at the higher term timeframes, they're not terrible. They're not terrible in the same way that a lot of the other meme coins that we looked at today were terrible. This is actually, for whatever reason, significantly better than like I think all the other meme coins that we've seen today. I don't think we've seen a single healthy meme coin except for this one, which continues to hold its uptrend. So short term tries another move to the upside. I think you're still kind of consolidating this region, but maybe sometime February this thing actually does try for a new high if it's going to. 4-hour time frame, I do think you have a little bit of a short-term pullback here, but I don't think that's like super relevant. Even if it came all the way back down to like your $1 lows, I think it still bounces from there, honestly. Anyways, Razor says Link USD daily, weekly. Link chain derp. Okay. Overall, not bad actually. Not bad. Let me actually just do it for this consolidation here. We have this high. We did hit our corrective target to the downside, so that's good. We have this low. Momentum on the weekly is about to turn back on freshly to the upside above $21, currently trading closer to $25, so I think that's rather likely. I think you get another test of the top side of your range in February, most likely, around $31. Does it break out from there or not? I don't know. The monthly says probably yes. And at that point, this thing very likely retests prior all-time highs, maybe even makes new all-time highs. Monthly momentum freshly turning up above $16. I think this one's actually in a decent position, in a way that many things are not. But, if it looks something like this, maybe it comes back down again, puts another higher low, and then tries the upside move. Who knows how that actually ends up looking like, but this one is setting up. It's not bad. Surprisingly enough, because I remember for a while Link was a drastic underperformer, but it's certainly got a better chart than like 90% of shit that we've seen today. Anyways, Morgan McDougal says, "Sup, Krown Dog? Hello, Morgan McDougal Dog. Can we get Kronos, please?" Sure. Kronos. Okay. All right. I guess this is only on OKX and Bluffin. All right. Whatever. Anyways, coming off the range lows here, I do think it's going to bounce again. It would still be a higher low on a weekly, so technically I should be bullish. Just Doesn't look super interesting to me. I really don't like it when you see this sort of like really uninspired sideways and down price action. It's usually not a good sign long term, but I do think there will be at least one more bounce, like something like this. Maybe comes down to the lows again, but very likely another bounce. I could very easily see it bouncing up to like 16, 17 cents. And then I'd be looking for sideways for a while. And I guess long term, I should be bullish on it as long as it's closing above 12 cents. You still have an uptrend. I mean, so this technically should be an opportunity. But if you really start to close below 12 cents, that's where I'd say, hey, this thing is on its road to doom, sir. But for now, I'd give it a chance at least, just because of the prior history, not because of what's going on here. This looks actually kind of ugly to me. Anyways. All right. Arthur says, good day, sir. What's up, man? Also enjoying the shitty weather in Finland. Actually, yes, I am. It's not so bad. SEI, we have SEI and AOZ. As always, just one at a time. Otherwise, my voice actually will literally explode. But we can look at SEI. I'll just choose the first one there. Like many shitcoins that we've seen today, I think you're in for a short-term continuation of this bounce. Overall. Now that can take many shapes or form. Maybe it pops up exactly from here to like 40 cents. Maybe it retests the lows first and then pops up. Whatever which way that it happens, I think that you're generally looking for a bounce off of this low right here. But long term, actually, it could be good long term. This one actually could be good long term because you do see that over the long term, this thing is okay. God damn it, just two lines, boom and boom. And you are, as long as you're within this range here and potentially putting in a higher low on the weekly time frame with momentum all the way down here as well. So that's not going to take too much to probably turn up next week. I think that you're in a bounce phase here. I think that you're generally in a bounce phase here. So, maybe it heads up here, but I think you're doing a lot of sideways, and then perhaps if and when it does close above your November highs, okay, then you're probably talking about new all-time highs. But until then, I think that this thing can go sideways for a while. And of course, if it does come down below, your 2024 lows, I mean, that's not really good, actually. Yazvan says, this was coming, ETC. Actually, I do. Actually, I could have guessed, yes. Here's Ethereum Classic. Not the worst chart of not the worst chart of the day. You're in a trading range here on the daily, to be fair. So for the short term, I think you're still looking at a whole lot of nothing, honestly. And when I say a whole lot of nothing, I mean like it's going to continue on with this range. I don't think you're breaking out nor breaking down of this range from here. Long term, I do think that you will. Yeah, you'll probably give another try to the upside long term, I think in February. But I think that this goes sideways for a little while longer. If you're mostly interested in the short term, I think you're doing something like this. Whoops! Now I'm just drawing lines like an actual retard. Anyways.
Can you go to the bottom and say if you missed this?
Can I go to the bottom? Did I miss IMX? Yeah. I must have missed that one. All right, we can go look at IMX. Sorry about that, sir. Immutable. Not a very inspiring chart as well. Lack of history, but the history that we do have is like not super great. Has not performed well in a bull market, which is not the best sign. But in the short term, do I think it's going to bounce here? I feel like I've said the same thing on a lot of these things, which is how really the market should work. I mean, everything kind of does move more or less with each other. But, are you going to bounce off this region again? I think so, yes. But any bounce that fails to reclaim 158 is likely just that. Monthly, pretty ugly. But I could definitely see another bounce there. And if it does trade above December of last year's highs, then actually that would be quite good. And I'd be looking for a pretty large rally, like $4, $4.50. I mean, that's a big move from where it's at right now. But it's got a lot of work to do. All right. Oops, I lost my place. Oh, what's up, Michael Palmer? He's back. Holy shit. XRP over the next month. Actually, I have that on my list. Man, of course you like fucking XRP. Let's see. I mean, honestly, it is one of the best looking charts, and I think that this thing does try a new high in February. Let's see if we can come up with some areas of interest, though, for February, I suppose. If and when it does break above about 322, shit, I mean, things could get really fucking crazy there, I guess. Okay, let me go to regular. Yeah, okay. Okay, I don't know if this happens in February, but 370 would be my next major area of interest upon this rally continuing, and then above there, closer to like actually 470, and then you got 5+ if things get really crazy. But who knows with XRP? XRP is a really fucking difficult one in my experience to get right, just because there's so much fucking supply on this thing. And I believe that they can just print it at will as well. But in the very, very short term, probably continues a little bit more sideways like this. But I don't think it's breaking down. I do think it gives another try to the upside. I do think it'll probably make another high in February. And yeah, 370 would be an obvious area. 370-ish. I mean, it's not going to be exact, obviously, but somewhere around there, I suppose. But yeah, man. All right, Mozino says, "Hey, Krown, super, will it reach all-time high again?" What? maybe going to an uptrend first before talking about new all-time high. Do I think it's going to hit a new all-time high? As far as the chart goes, I don't think it's happening anytime soon. But it is bouncing nicely off the yellow 21 here on the monthly, so give it a chance to do that. Not a humongous fan of the monthly right now, but like most things, I think it's in for a bounce to open up on February. Or in February, it probably spends most of the month bouncing. I mean, this thing could easily, I guess my alarm line's already there, but we'll just redo it for this. But, could easily bounce up to 140 even. The problem is you do have a nice downtrend here on the daily. So what I really want to see is something like this where it has a really strong bounce in February, probably going to reject from here if it does even get there to begin with. And then I want to see a higher low on the pullback. If you see that, okay, then perhaps you have a reversal on your hands, but is it going to reach all-time highs from there? That would not be my first target, man. I wouldn't even consider the possibility of this thing reaching prior all-time highs until at minimum it's above your December 2024 highs. Above there, things can get really crazy with this thing. And to be fair, I mean, it is still holding an uptrend here on their very, very high term timeframes, but needs to essentially, one, not go lower than what you saw in January, and two, start reversing on the daily. So I do think this one's going to bounce here regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish. The real question is what happens after it rejects somewhere around here, I'd guess, because you really want to see a higher low on that pullback. And if that does happen, then I think it has a chance. But if you're talking about all-time highs, this is the point of maximum interest right here. Above there, okay, yeah, you can probably bring up that conversation. Until then, I think it's pretty far away, dude. All right. Crypto Shart says, "Please don't box Elsa." We like her. I like her too. H bar. All right, let's check it out. H bar. I think this is one of the Trump coins, or I don't know. I feel like I read that somewhere. Anyways, I don't know when I did this chart last, but it's the same range. It's the same range as before. In the short term, does it continue on something like this? I think you're doing a lot of sideways, but should give another try towards 39 cents. Yeah, I do think that you get at least a try towards like 35 to 39 cents. The real question is what happens when you get there. Do you reject or not? So I think February, a lot of these things will make tries to the upside. The real question is, do they do anything of significance? If it does reject, I'd be looking for it to come back down to your range lows, which is, well, maybe not all the way down to the range lows, but at least like 28 cents or something, which is not very far away from where it's at right now, like 27 to 28 cents. But the more that it trades sideways within this region here, the better. It's just, let's see what the monthly looks like. Monthly does look like a swing top right here, to be honest. Yeah. So what I'd be fearful of is that you do a little bit of sideways, you rally up, you reject somewhere around here, and then come down. And that would be a monthly swing high, and your monthly swing high, comes down, and hopefully for your sake sets in a higher low. This thing could easily come down to like 20 cents, 18, 20 cents. I mean, it's big fucking ranges here, man. But yeah, I suppose we shall see on this one. This one I don't feel as confident with, to be honest. BK says MLG versus Solana. Okay. No. What are you doing? Elsa just goes onto the floor and starts stretching like a dog. Like, what are you doing? All right, MLG Solana. Wow, that's one massive girthy green dildo. Holy shit. One of the biggest green dildos I've ever seen, in fact.
If you weren't so gay.
7.5. Elsa says, if I wasn't so gay, I would understand. That's exactly right. Yes, and you would understand what it's like to stretch your hips, but you don't because you have no respect for stretching.
I don't have to stretch them because they're so big.
Okay. All right. I honestly really don't know with this one just because it's so bizarre looking here. But if I had to call it, I guess I'd be looking for next try to the upside. I really don't know with this one though, man. It's a fucking weird looking chart to me. If I had to call it, I think that it does open up February on a rally and probably tries back up towards the top side of the range at like 15, 16 cents. But does it break out from there? I don't know if I'd go that far just yet. I guess it'll have a chance here, but it's just like I hate these charts that have a shit ton of these nasty wicks in both sides. Just very illiquid, so a lot of nonsense can happen, unfortunately. But yeah, if you're just looking at the 4 hour, if I had to call it, probably tries a short-term bounce here, maybe towards like 14, 15 cents. Anyways, we have Ian Young next. He says STX.
Should I close these or?
I mean, I don't think that they're really coming in too much anymore, are they? STX. Okay, so you're looking at higher term time frames. STX, like many of the shitcoins that we've seen today, I do think is bouncing off of this right here. I mean, this is essentially where you've been finding the lows on this thing since all the way back in 1 year ago to 2024. So I do think that you're going to get, even if you're like the biggest bear of all time, you're going to get a bounce from here. How high does it bounce? I mean, it could very easily bounce towards like 160. I think that doesn't do anything, but it could easily bounce there. It starts to indicate an actual reversal or potential for reversal if it can trade above your January high of 172 and a half about. If you trade above there, then maybe it actually does, work its way all the way to the top side of the range. But either which way, I'd be looking for a bounce here. If it can reclaim that high, we extend that bounce a lot more. Until then, it could also very easily look like this, where it rejects there, comes back down to the lows, puts in a higher low, and then tries to get to the upside. I mean, it can take many forms, but with the way that things are kind of shaping up for February, I'd probably be more inclined to say it's gonna try for like a legit bounce there. Monthly, yeah, playing off of the monthly range lows, playing off the 55. I think you're in a bounce here. You're in a bounce for February, maybe even March as well. Is it going to outpace Bitcoin though? Is the real question. Theoretically, this thing should have higher beta relative to Bitcoin, because I believe this is like Bitcoin DeFi, right? Something like that. I'm not actually fully sure, but it's kind of like a leverage play on Bitcoin almost. So I would assume if it does bounce, I would assume it will outpace Bitcoin, but I don't know for sure. Shisho says, could you please check on Trump on the daily? Okay. I think this is actually on TradingView. It is indeed on TradingView. That really says something. If Trump coin is on TradingView and your favorite shitcoin is not on TradingView, not a good sign. Wow. God damn. You don't need me to tell you that this thing is wrecked. Elsa says it's not good. I want to look at the full history just because I know it topped out higher than $50. I think 70 or something. Where did it top out at? Yeah, so it was really at 70 top. It's just been a dead heartbeat ever since then. These things will have their bounces, of course, and maybe it can even bounce a lot. But we're talking about a $5 billion market cap, literal meme coin. I don't think it's doing anything significant to the upside. in its life anytime soon, at least. But I mean, just for example's sake, you could easily bounce to $30-$35 and I'd still be massively bearish long term. Yeah, ugly. Let's see. Herc Santos says 0 and Pendle. Okay, again, didn't get the memo for just one, but all good. To be fair, we don't say, but you're supposed to be able to read my mind and figure it out yourself. Otherwise, it's common sense, says Elsa. Common sense. We're restoring common sense to the Republic. Again, another one, like, I hate these charts that look like this. They're really bad long term. I think that this one's topped out for the cycle. But is it going to bounce here? Yeah, it's probably going to bounce here. And again, just for example's sake, it could bounce all the way to like $4.50 and still be massively bearish long term. It is massively bearish as long as you're below 530. So you could have a humongous bounce here, and I think that you will have a big bounce, but I think at best you're doing something like that and sideways for a while. I think that this is a cycle high. Very, very likely to be the cycle high. Mr. Murray Kerr says accumulation distribution indicator on the monthly. Well, why? Anyways, I mean, I can bring it up for sure, but I don't trust this thing anymore, to be honest. It has not been accurate for a while, and so to me, it's like, why do people continue to care about this thing? Yeah, continues with the downward slope. I mean, this would be on the bearish side. It'd be saying down only from here, if history is anything to be going off of. But it also would have been telling you the same thing, back in like literally a year ago in February, March of last year, and Bitcoin's obviously moved higher than there. So I don't think that it works anymore. I don't see the edge there anymore. So that's why I've been ignoring it, honestly. Anyways, if I had to look at it, I mean, that is what it's saying. And it is what it is, I suppose. Jogan says, could you check out PP? I will check out PP for you, sir. Topped for the cycle again. Short term, does it bounce? Yes, I do think that it will bounce. Let me go back to this chart. My PP. Yeah. Oh wow, I had this circle right there. LARP lines are wrong, but the circle is right. Look, I do think that you're going to bounce off this region here, but just like many other things, I think this one's topped out for the cycle. I think you could bounce up into this region, reject, come further down. I just don't think that meme coins are the play. But to be fair, I mean, this thing actually has held higher lows for the last couple of years, since it was born. So that tells me, I guess I should give it a chance, from this region, but give it a chance to bounce. It should bounce a lot. And then if it trades sideways for like a fucking year, then maybe long term it'll be fun. All right, my salty water is almost gone. PK says, could you look at ZEC, Snowden's coin? This was like one of the first cryptos not named Bitcoin that I learned about. I remember Zuko made it. Zuko, my fucking dick. Very bad chart. Very bad chart. It doesn't. I don't care if Snowden likes this. It's a terrible chart. Again, it's a monthly swing high right here with momentum turning down. Over the next 6 months to a year, I think you're very likely to see this thing minus 50% from where it's at. Come back down to like $20 or so. It's never known a monthly uptrend in its whole life. It's only ever gone sideways and down. And this is the real chart right here. I mean, we should give this chart the real treatment. The nuke. Shitty charts get nuked. Shitty charts are canceled and shitty charts get nuked. Yazan says, top 3 coins you like for February. I'm the wrong person to ask about that because I don't really play altcoins. I can say after today's stream, it wouldn't really be any of the meme coins. I think maybe there was one that looked okay. I think a lot of things are going to bounce pretty hard in February, including those meme coins, to be fair. So actually, maybe they are the play, but I wouldn't be holding these things for forever. I'm mostly just look at Bitcoin, to be honest, unless if it's one of these live streams in which I look at a lot of these different things. But I haven't made a note on any of these shit coins today. Maybe Link would be an interesting one. That was one of the charts that kind of stood out today. But nothing was like super, super obviously long-term new all-time highs or maybe they're actually no, sorry, there was actually a couple of them at least, but I forget their names, and honestly, I wouldn't really care anyways. But yeah, I mean, I think February in general is going to be okay for a lot of things. I think it's going to be a big bounce month for many coins. But I think a lot of those bounces, especially on meme coins, are just going to be lower highs. A lot of those looked really fucking gross. I Show You says, can you check out DEX on MEXC? Sure. Okay, let's see what this is not a real thing. Unfortunately, this is, oh, sorry, SDEX. I apologize. I'm actually lobotomized and blind. SDEX, or, yeah, okay. SmartDEX, Shit DEX, Bad DEX, Down DEX, goes to the, LARP lines are still going to be right here, I think. Probably attempts a bounce in February, but I think that this thing's coming further down over the long term, closer to like 0.8%. Rejected the top side of the range. I think you come down close to the bottom side of the range overall. But that can take some time. You're going to see some bounce along the way. Might even see a bounce from where it's at right now. Could easily bounce to like 1 1/3, but I don't think you're moving significantly to the upside anytime soon, to be honest. Okay, we have Khalifa. Next, he says, Radium, daily please, possible double derp. Let's check it out. Ray, I think is the ticker on this one. Yeah, it is. All right. Okay, actually, okay, well, long term, yeah, not super great, but at least it's in a nice, healthy uptrend for the last couple of years. So that's good. It's a better sign than most. I actually like the setup right here. The weekly momentum is turning back onto the upside freshly. Let's see the monthly. Monthly is also up as well. I think that this thing actually will try higher in February if tonight, like this night, closes above $7, which right now it's actually decently above. So definitely possible, or I'd say more likely than not. But you know, when I look at these timeframes here, like on shorter relative to what we just looked at on the monthly, I do think that it will spend some time consolidating a little bit sideways and down in the short term. It's just overall, this is actually decent, I think. It's just this would be a good place for a pullback, to be fair. Maybe a little bit higher first and then a pullback, but let's go back to the monthly. Yeah, if the monthly closes above $7, I do think it'll try higher in February. I don't necessarily, yeah, but it could. I mean, it's probably going to try higher in February, but it might spend like the first half of February continuing to go sideways here. Is there a double derp signal here? I don't see it. I'm looking at the daily. I'm looking at the weekly. I'm looking at the monthly, and none of these have extremes on BBWP except for the daily. But that's just a one drive right there. So, I mean, yeah, it's probably going to trade sideways for a little bit of time. That's why I say maybe like half of February, or like a week and a half of February. You know, it continues to go sideways here, but ultimately, I think this one could very easily try higher. Actually, it should have at least one more try higher, I would say. Long term though, I wouldn't get super excited about it until you're back above, what is it, like $9.50. So, you know, it could spike up to 9.5 and then come back down. I think that's probably what does happen. All right, we have CZ. He says Ondo weekly. Ondo. All right, Ondo Finance. Actually, let's go to the full history one. Okay, it is actually same thing, but I have a chart here, and I'd still say the LARP lines are generally going to be correct here. I don't know when I made this chart last. It must have been about a week and a half ago, but yeah, I'd be saying the same thing. You know, it might spike a little bit higher here in the short term, but I'd still be looking for this range to continue on sideways for a while. Hard to get super excited about it until you're actually closing a weekly above 1 3/4. And at that point, I would be saying this thing's going to make new all-time highs. But until then, I really do not underestimate the amount of time it can go sideways for until that actually does happen. But it is setting up decently here. I mean, this is not bad. It's not bad, especially compared to like 90% of shit that we've seen today. especially as long as it's above your January lows. I'd just generally be kind of bullish. Just I think it's also going to be boring in the short term as well. A lot of sideways. Shane Rabidou says JTO. Okay. Gito. Actually, not bad here. Actually, surprisingly interesting. In fact, weekly is about to see momentum turn back up freshly to the upside above 315. It's trading 338 right now. I think that this thing's going to reach back up towards your weekly range highs, actually, somewhere between like 4 to maybe even 4.5. Yeah, not bad. In an uptrend on most timeframes that matter. So I think you give another try up there in February. And then, hey, if you start to close above that December high, then I guess this thing could retest your all-time high at like 5.25, somewhere around there. Maybe make new all-time highs. Possible, man. An interesting looking altcoin here. In fact, significantly different than most things that we've seen today. And now we are at the bottom of the chats. The bottom, the very, very bottom, the very tippy top of the bottom. And that is where we'll end things for today. My voice is actually wrecked for today, unfortunately. And I got a lot of errands to run because next week we're moving around a bit, so need to tie up a lot of loose ends before that happens. Anyways, I'll be signing off on that note. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who joined on in this live stream. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of old friends. Fucking Michael Palmer's here. Holy shit, really cool to see, man. And for everyone else, I want to say massive thank you for joining on in. As always, it's been a pleasure on this nice little Friday morning. We'll do a weekly Q&A on the Discord. I actually might save that for next week when we travel, just so I have like a nice big video to post. But if you do want to contribute, you can find the link to the Discord in the description below. You just need to go to the weekly Q&A section right here on Discord and just go to the most recent week. And, well, you can ask whatever the hell that you want. Although, well, I guess this week isn't so full just yet. But like I said, I might keep this one open until like Tuesday of next week because it would make a little more sense to kind of release this while we're traveling. Anyways, as always, I would like to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully